Here is the 5-step gymnastic process to improve your gymnastics in CrossFit. This is what I use for all of my clients, and this is how we actually fix their gymnastics and improve them. Now, this slideshow, this PDF, is what we do in the program. So with the people I coach every week, every other week, we get on this, we go over a topic. One of the topics was gymnastics and how we improve them and how to improve them. The knowledge you gain through your coaching is super important. You should be gaining knowledge and you should be starting to understand how to do things by yourself. You need a coach not just because of the knowledge, there's plenty of other things, but acquiring knowledge along the way is super important. So this is why I host these with my guys, and this is why I'm giving it over to you lot, because it's going to give you an understanding of how your programming should look. So when it comes to gymnastics, the problem is you don't know how to use certain progressions. So what I mean by that is you don't know how to use certain exercises to progress the movement to get you to where you need to be. There's also no structure to your training, and you don't practice skills outside of workouts. If you only practice skills inside of workouts, you're going to find it really, really hard to improve them. If you've just done 30 clean and jerks and then you want to do 30 bar muscle ups after that, but you haven't really acquired good bar muscle up reps yet, it's going to be really hard. You need to practice outside of WODs first, workouts. Or WODs, same thing. You haven't built the prerequisite strength, so this is super important, and a lot of people skip past this. You need to have that strength, else you're going to come back to it at some point anyway. And everything is overcomplicated, which is why you guys can use this, because then it is really, really simple. So, number one, pretty obvious, but it's acquire the skill. So we're kind of moving past that point. So I'm not teaching you in this how to acquire the skill you want, is past that and to get it to an elite point. So acquiring the skill, obviously you need to build that necessary strength first. Like I said, you will go back, okay? You can do this really simply though. Pulls, presses, holds. Similar movement patterns can be really helpful. So if I want to get my first pull up, I just need to be pulling a lot more frequently. And that's from a vertical point, that's from a horizontal point. Just pull more frequently. Do some holds, any variations. Good example of this is some bandage stick pull-ups, 4 sets of 5, and then some chin over bar holds, 3 times a max hold. Loads of ways you can do seal rows, bent over rows, loads. Just do it and you will get there. But the second way you're going to step forwards and improve is accumulate. So what I mean by that is there are no outside factors, no other movements involved at all. There's not much fatigue, and the focus is learning to accumulate good single reps perfectly. An example, accumulate 20 single reps with as much rest needed between the reps. Now, accumulation is really, really important before you start thinking about linking reps, because if we can accumulate really good numbers and move perfectly, it's going to be really helpful. You can do this for any of the skills. Accumulate 20 single pull-ups, 20 single chest to bar, 20 single bar muscle ups, 20 single handstand push-ups. The list goes on. You can do this for any movement. Now, number 3 is linking. So this is just a step forwards. Again, we don't want any outside factors, no other movements, and not much fatigue. The goal is to still link perfect, good quality reps, okay? The example for this one is every 90 seconds times 4 to 5 pull-ups. Okay, so you've still got a good bit of rest. The pull-ups are going to take you 15 seconds or so. You're going to have a good amount of rest after that, so you do not need to worry. This is a really good way before you start adding in the outside factors. Okay, so linking without the outside factors is super important. How you progress this is you start increasing your heart rate with just this. So you start with the goal being perfect, good quality reps, and then this can change to every 30 seconds, 5 pull-ups. And you want to do that, so you want to get the fatigue up without any other movements first, with just that skill. Okay, so say for example I did 5 handstand push-ups, rest 2 minutes between sets, 5 times. We then want to get down to rest 10 seconds between sets before you start thinking about adding in other movements. We want to think about improving that before adding in outside factors, which is what we're coming on to. So indirect fatigue, this is where we just want to spike the heart rate but not directly fatigue any of the muscle groups we're using for the exercise. So for example, pull-ups, some of the main factors are going to be your biceps, your back, your grip. Okay, so these are some similar things, and the movement patterns are just going to be a lot of pulling, right? So a bike isn't going to directly fatigue any of that. Okay, so an example is a 6-minute EMOM, 5 pull-ups, 60-second bike at a very moderate pace. This is your first step on indirect fatigue. This can become harder, so you could set that for 15 calories and then 18 calories, 20 calories, so on and so on, making it harder. And same with these, we can increase these, we can increase that. This isn't exactly how you should do it, I'm just giving you an example so you have an idea of what I'm talking about. Okay, which leads on to the final one, which is your direct fatigue. Now, direct fatigue is spiking the heart rate again, so the heart rate's higher with actual direct fatigue to the muscles you're going to use for that movement. The movement is the pull-up, so adding in a row to fatigue that pull, and adding in the carries to fatigue your grip, your forearms, is going to be super hard and make it challenging. So this is your direct fatigue. Okay, so really simple 5 steps that is going to help you. Acquire the skill, accumulate, link in, indirect fatigue, direct fatigue. If you use this, this will help you so much. Now, no one is set for a specific time in each one. Okay, so this doesn't just take 2 weeks for everyone, 3 weeks for everyone. It's all dependent on the person. You need to spend as much time in there as you need before moving on to the next one. Some people will spend months here. Okay, some people will spend even longer here. Okay, it just depends person to person, but if you use this and do it correctly, it will massively, massively help.